What I like about diving talks is the very kind of I'm trying to find the right word for it. Not informal. It's actually very classy the way it's done. But it's very intimate. That's the word I'm looking for. Um, Everyone that's a speaker is mingling with everyone that's a guest, and there's conversations, and there's little areas set up to socialize, and the whole thing, it seems like just a really nice party, kind of. It's really a lot of fun, but the presentations are fantastic. I mean, I enjoyed all the presentations a lot. One of them that really uh, stuck out was Simon's talk on the hydrogen diving was really fascinating because he broke it down like into a way that I think anybody could understand. Like if I could get it, probably anybody could get it. So it was really well presented, and I enjoyed it. And it was funny because after that talk, I immediately started like texting all my friends. Oh my god, I just saw the most amazing talk. And when it went up on YouTube, I must have emailed that link to about 50 people. So I'm really glad that they record these things so eventually other people can see them, because the presentations are really well done. Oh yeah, I mean everybody at the place is hanging out with each other. It's a lot of dive shows, they try to make the talent like special, and separate them from the attendees. And like there's the like almost like a rock concert. Like you've got the performer and you've got the audience. Diving talk sort of integrates everybody. Everyone's hanging out. There's no separation. I mean, every single presenter, when they got done with their presentation, they kind of just walked down and sat back down in the audience with everybody else. And so there was no like, oh, this person's special, we can't talk to them. Everybody's just kind of hanging out. Like I said, it's kind of like a party, a classy party. You know what I mean? Not like a house party, not a frat party, more like a cocktail. It was like, except it didn't have any cocktails. I mean, we should fix that next year. We should get cocktails. But other than that, and I like the fact that it's kind of presented in one space. A lot of shows are really big, and there's a talk going on in that room over there, and then there's a different talk going on in that room over there, and you have to like pick which one you want to see more than the other, and so you miss some, and Diving Talks isn't really done that way. It's done a little bit more intimate, where there's only one talk going at a time, and so you can see all the talks. And they have a very strict time limit on them, which I had a very hard time making. But they had a strict time limit so that the talks don't get too monotonous, which is what happens when you let me speak. And so it's a good time. The diving industry has a little bit of an identity problem right now, and that is that it's having a hard time attracting younger people. The diving crowd is getting older, and I'm probably on the low end of the average age of divers these days, and I am not young. So we need to get more 20s and 30 somethings into diving. And I really think that Diving Talks is out there promoting and trying to get new people interested in the sport. And because it's in Portugal, it's something new and different. It's not like all the same old shows that have been going for years. So it's kind of a fresh take on it, and the whole approach to it is different from the other shows, a little more informal and friendly to new people. So I mean, I think it's great. I think that meeting new people is my favorite part of it. Of course, it was great to get to see some friends, like Becky Kagan-Schott was there this year or last year, and it was good to hang out with her. We've been friends for a long time, but it was nice to meet some new people. The year before, I had met Simon Mitchell, and a whole bunch of people. So yeah, meeting new people is really fun. Well, so what led to it was, in the early 2000s, I had this idea that I wanted to do a show that was like Jacques Cousteau meets the Crocodile Hunter, and the Crocodile Hunter was pretty big. And I told my wife about the idea, and I said the problem is, we need to find a host that's kind of goofy and knowledgeable and loves to dive and travel. And she said, "Well, you just described yourself." And I said, "Well, I don't want to be the host. I want to be the cameraman." And so we came up with the concept of the show, which is, it's about this sort of traveling cameraman in his adventures, and that's me. We actually started on television. We were on PBS in the US for the first 4 seasons of the show. And then we realized that, younger people don't watch television anymore. They watch YouTube. And we made the conscious decision to leave television to go to YouTube to get more viewers. And that was successful. I'm glad we did that. Well, I mean, we kind of thrive on a challenge. So, I kind of enjoy the challenge. We have a saying around here that if it was easy, everybody would do it. And so, the idea that, I mean, probably the hardest things to capture are animal behaviors. Things like shipwrecks or caves tend to stay right where you left them. They're easy subjects, but animals don't cooperate. So anytime you're doing a segment with animals, you can't ever be sure you're going to get it. We have tried and failed, I think, 4 times now to shoot a good segment on mako sharks. It's a topic that we keep failing at. One of these days we're going to get it. Well, it's really satisfying. To me, like, half the fun is telling the story, and telling the story is the post production. That's editing it. And in fact, I'm working on one right now. You're taking hours and hours and hours of footage and condensing it into a concise, fun story that has a little bit of educational content and a whole lot of adventure. And when I'm working on it, I try to think, okay, what stuff do I have to make sure to include in this? I got to make sure that I give the viewer like a feel for the location and what it's like to be there and what the diving is like and what the site looks like. But, you also want to give them a sense of adventure and wonder. And, also you want to make sure that they're just a little jealous. You know what I mean? Well, one of the things that we try to do with the show is we try to get people to have an appreciation and a love for the oceans, because Jacques Cousteau said it best. People only protect what they love, and they only love what they know. And so by sort of showing everybody these beautiful places that I love, I'm hoping that they will also fall in love with them. And by doing that, they will want to protect them. One thing that we try not to do is to get into the whole like beating you over the head with an environmental message, because believe it or not, people don't respond to that. People don't like to be beaten over the head with an environmental message. They don't want to be told that we're wrecking the planet and the oceans are getting warmer and there's ocean acidification, and like people they know this stuff. They don't need to be beaten over the head with it. So our goal is to hopefully get them to be more interested in protecting the oceans by simply instilling that love. And I think, to answer your question more specifically, I wish I could get into conservation topics a little deeper than we can. But we have found that it does turn people off. And my big message that I try to get out there is the concept of the problem that we have of overfishing. Everybody talks about climate, and obviously we should be talking about the climate. But in my opinion, we have a bigger, more immediate threat, and that is overfishing. And the fact of the matter is that 8 billion people cannot survive on wildlife. And we we have to fundamentally change the practice of commercial fishing if the oceans are going to survive. And that's a fact. And that is something that we can do something about. I mean, the world could get together and all the countries could get together and they could figure it out how to control rampant overfishing. The climate is a lot harder thing to fix. Overfishing is not that hard, but nobody wants to do it.